Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 273rd episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by Epic.net and those sexy legends over at audiotechnica.com.au. I'm Rick Stream, your humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me today, the Iori Yagami to my Terry Bogard, my podcast Ride or Die. You can find her on them socials at Miss Allie Hart. Miss Allie Hart, how the bloody hell are ya?
Doing well. For a pretty hectic week. But yeah, pretty chill. How about yourself?
We're surviving. I think we're collectively surviving. Yeah, we've got various levels of insanity we're dealing with all the way across the globe here for our respective nations at the moment. But we're here. We're talking games. It's been a bumper week as far as news and releases and things like that. My God, there's certainly we're not short of things to do and experience and enjoy by any stretch of the imagination.
No, we're lucky that we've got a few media distractions, and some good quality ones too.
Amen to that. So maybe we could kick things off, as we always do, as is tradition on THG, talk about what we've been up to this past week. Miss Hart, did you want to lead us off?
Sure. To no one's surprise, I finally got my claws into Destiny 2, The Witch Queen content, and it's great. It's awesome. They've outdone themselves again, especially with campaign. The story so far, full disclosure, I have yet to finish the story. The story so far is really intriguing. It's captivating. I like the direction that it's going. The voice work is amazing in the music, and the one thing that I just have always constantly loved about Destiny, the environment team have just built another beautiful set scenery. It's just absolutely
stunning.
Gorgeous. Yeah, and it's just so much fun being able to now run around this new world or new area and get to experience all this new content, new weapons. And especially the glaive that they've introduced that I haven't warmed up to yet, because it frustrates the damn hell out of me.
It's been really good. Like, shout out to our friends at Bungie and Double Jump for tossing us a few keys to experience the hotness that is the Witch Queen. I completely endorse everything you just said there. It's a stunning game. I'm still only a few hours in myself as well. Like, I haven't sort of traversed this world as deep as some of the other people that have been jumping on since it dropped, in the early hours of Wednesday morn.
Second one, yeah.
Yeah, like we were recording a day earlier today, so we've got a day less to play Destiny 2 as well. So we've managed to find a bit of time collectively between ourselves to give it a spin. And yeah, it is stunning. Runs silky smooth. I'm playing on the old Xbox Series X. And outside of... I had some issues getting into the game to start with, full disclosure, but I think from what I can understand is because I initially had this installed through Game Pass, and it has since been removed from Game Pass when I put my Witch Queen Deluxe Edition key in, redeemed it, downloaded it, happy days. Then I'm trying to play it, and it's like, you must own this game to play it. I'm like, I just put the key in that should give me ownership. And so I went around in circles for probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes to try and work it out. And even though I owned the Witch Queen and I owned Destiny 2, I needed to actually go back into the Xbox Marketplace, find the full version of the game, which is free, the base version of the game, and I had to actually click in there and click purchase this game in there. So I checked that box, went through, did a little minor update, and then finally got in because I was spinning my wheels and I was getting very frustrated. But a little bit's that on me. I probably should have taken the time to read that I needed to do these little finite steps, but yeah, the world's gorgeous. The gunplay feels so tight still, and
it's always been amazing.
The soundtrack, phenomenal.
Epic.
Like everything you said, the voice casting, the story, like, it feels like this is Bungie firing on all cylinders, and it feels the scale is huge. It's epic. It's grand, massive, big sci-fi space opera, and I can't wait to work through this story more. I can wait to never play the legendary mode again of this campaign. That's for sure. Like, the cool thing when the game boots you in, you can pick to go legendary mode, which is a harder challenge, and if you complete the game on it, you get some extra gear and some swagger. Or you can play as the standard, and I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's go legendary. Playing that solo was the stupidest idea I've had all week. It took me about an hour to finish the first mission because just base Cabal grunts were just absolutely wrecking my face time and time again. So, yeah, wasn't a good time, but got through it in the end. But I'm going to scale back and probably reboot it just as the baseline, just to have a bit more of an enjoyable experience, because it was so frustrating and so painful.
I read what the requirements were for legendary, and it's like, you may want to do this with friends and da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to be about that business, so I just loaded up what I guess would be considered just the normal standard leveling, which was referred to as being brave. And for the most part, yeah, it was fine for me. I ran it solo. I think I also wanted to do it because I very much want to experience the universe every time it's new content. Like, I look up in the sky, I look down at like ravines, and I look at other little things. So
Mars
it's
is
better.
so pretty, isn't it? You can
Mars
just get lost
pretty.
wandering around that planet.
But Savathûn's like castle ship thing is just so beautiful. I love what they've done, and I love the contrast between like the swampiness on like the kind of like that groundish level, and then this like beautiful castle that she's like built for herself with like elegant flowers, and just that beautiful like that garden kind of like courtyard that she's built for herself.
Stunning there.
So I really like that kind of contrast that they've done there, and like overall it's just like it's Destiny, but like it's a different kind of like a different kind of Destiny that they're showing us. Like we've been to Mars before, which sounds funny to say, but yeah, we've been to Mars before. But like, yeah, it's this kind of a different atmosphere on Mars as well. So
yeah, it's just this science fiction, high fantasy space opera that is just singing and hitting all the right notes. And yeah, I'm looking forward to trying to lock in some time with the collective of us to run through some of this together, because
definitely.
Bungie and Destiny, it's a great singular experience, but it's a special squad-based experience. So getting a couple more Guardians to roam those castle halls and just experience the awesomeness that is the Witch Queen. I'm excited for that, and this is going to be sort of a review in progress for us for many weeks. To not only
definitely.
finish the main line and then work through like the raids and all the other additional content they've got there for us. So we'll be revisiting this regularly on THG over the next few weeks, I'd imagine. But so far, it's feeling like I'm only a few hours in, but it's feeling very much like it's 8-bit approved from my end. It's hitting all the right notes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people maybe who have either previously been Destiny fans and probably have stepped away for quite some time, or maybe people that have just heard enough about Destiny, they're maybe a little bit curious. This is a really good time to enter in. It's always good to kind of jump back into Destiny when new content's dropping, and from respective peoples in collective groups that I have, a lot of people that may be experiencing it for the first time or experiencing it for the first time since a long time, they're enjoying it too. So anyone that might be on the fence, this would be a good time to probably jump in. It's pretty good.
Definitely. And the good thing with jumping in now, if you're seasoned or new to the game, is you're all going to start at that 1350
exactly
light level. So there's not going to be some curve where you roll in as a lowly grunt and everyone else is 2,000 levels above you. We're all on a level playing field, so you can all get that same experience and that same sense of excitement getting your gear and working through quests and everything else. So yeah, perfect time to jump on in. Feels good. It's still just about the best first person shooter as far as how the guns feel and the combat feels. They've just nailed that science, and it's awesome. And yeah, I can't wait to play more. But Witch Queen so far, loving every second of it. Outside of trying to solo legendary, like I'm sure there's people out there that are working through or listening to this now saying you're a pussy, you can do it. But no, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going back to Brave. Legendary, too much for me. I thought I could cut my teeth on it to lead into then jumping into Elden Ring, but no, I'm brave. I'm not
fair.
legendary.
It's good to be humbled sometimes.
Yeah. You need that. You need that in this day and age. But speaking of vicious combat, you've also been dabbling in another game, right?
Yeah, this is actually technically from the week previous, but King of Fighters came out, and I'm not a fighting game enthusiast. Like I've played Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat in my time, but my husband actually installed King of Fighters, and actually over the Valentine's weekend. We decided to beat the shit out of each other. And it's actually it's
love.
Isn't that just love? It's really, really fun. It's a really gorgeous game too. The difference between, Street Fighter is still got that kind of cartoony element to it, but obviously Mortal Kombat really had that realistic vibe to it. So it's been pretty cool experiencing like the King of Fighters style of combat when it comes to these kind of fighters, and a bit risque. There's quite a few move sets in there that I was like, oh, okay. I don't know how people are going to be able to stream it on Twitch. There's some very interesting
where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun, and I can see why it's been coming up on my feed quite a bit. I'm obviously no expert, so don't expect a lick of information from me on whether it is good in comparison, but overall, just for fun, it is lots of fun, and it looks good too.
It really does look good. Like I see a lot of my my fighting game content courtesy of Aclay of a couple of NPCs fame. Like he is a fighting game savant, so a lot of the stuff he shares and talks about on socials is where I get my updates and info from, and he's been gushing about King of Fighters so far, and sharing some video from tournaments and little cutscenes and things, and yeah, I know what you're talking about as far as some of the sexually suggestiveness that gets around with some of the moves and some of the busty femme fatales that are kicking dudes' asses and vice versa, but that's very true to the source material. Like this game's been around for decades, and they haven't shied away from, I guess, being a little bit lewd when
Why stop now?
Exactly. It's like you know what you're getting from King of Fighters, but it looks stunning, and I love that they're still sticking to that traditional 2D fighter with they've enhanced the graphics from prior generations, but they've still kept to that same cartoon. I don't know if cartoon's underselling it and being a bit disrespectful, but that cartoon art style, like there's detail there with the characters, don't get me wrong, but yeah, the models on the screen aren't as higher detail as Mortal Kombat and such, but they still look fantastic.
Yeah, and there's really good fluidity to it, like in move sets and then transitioning between special moves and all that sort of stuff. There's not so much of a jittering or a sudden pause. It just flows pretty well. So I was pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed a fighting game that I'm not familiar with. So
it's a lot of thirsts and a lot of new passions you're finding in the game space over the last several months with Forza and now King of Fighters.
Yeah,
what's
pretty
next?
Rewarding. Yeah, oh gosh, what would be next? If I think the ultimate was a car racing game winning me over. I feel like that was like the Mount Olympus of like gaming for me. It's just like that's it, you've conquered it all.
You did also say, though, speaking of conquering Mount Olympus-esque sized games and achievements, you did say that you're going to actually give Elden Ring a spin as well.
Yeah, so that's been purchased in my household. I can't deny the raving reviews it's been getting, so there's a chance that I will be playing that game, which is a shock.
We're going to report back on our experiences of Elden Ring as well. Like, neither of us are soul savants by any stretch of the imagination, but as you said, Miss Hart, you can't deny the universal praise, and we'll talk more about that later in the news, but we're going to give it a spin. We're going to see how much this game is going to hurt us mentally and physically and emotionally, but it's looks like it's one for the ages, that's for sure.
Speaking about abuse, how's Horizon been? Sorry, that's my bad.
I'm the one dealing abuse these days in that game. Like I've finished all the mainline story, But because I'm adoring this game so much, I'm just working my way through to potentially try and get the platinum, but I'm just cleaning up the map, going through and doing some side quests and discovering more little locales and taking down enemy encampments and just all that ancillary stuff you get along the way in these big open world RPGs. So I absolutely adore this game. It's not flawlessly perfect, but in my mind, it's one of my favorite games I've ever played. Just because it hits all the notes as far as what I love in a game and in pop culture and stuff like that. And I'm not going to go into specifics as to what some of those things are because it would spoil the story. But we do have a spoiler cast coming out in the next week or so, give or take, tackling that, and we'll go into that in more detail. But it's a very special game. Very, very special. Like... It finished up on Metacritic at 88 out of 100, which is still a hell of a score. But in comparison to Elden Ring, which we'll talk about later, it is now sort of almost pushed to the side. You know, that Simpsons meme with the cute sheep? Yeah. It has become the less cute lamb, and Elden Ring is the belle of the ball right now. But Forbidden West, love it, adore it. It just gets better the more you play it, the more weapons you unlock, and the more you get fluid and work out what sort of combat style works for you. And it's just such a gorgeous, gorgeous game. Like, I'm now becoming one of those photo mode guys where I'm running around. I'm like, oh, look at this nice vista, and oh, look at this machine here. I can get a good photo with that. So I'm spending a lot of time framing Aloy in a whole host of ways, just getting really pretty photos. But annoyingly, we don't have access to the sort of the beta inclusion on the PS app where it would save all your captures and you could just download it straight from the app. So I don't know, maybe it's just certain regions around the world have it, like Australia doesn't for now. So annoyingly, the way I have to get my captures is either I tweet all the photos and then quickly maybe save them and then delete the tweet, or what I've done is I've had to bloody stick a USB into my PlayStation 5, export all the media, then put it in my computer, download that, and then like upload it to Drive and then download it to my phone. Like it's really janky and annoying in that regard. So PlayStation, please fix that app.
A lot of people that I know that kind of, it's not getting around it, but it's the best practice, especially if you're someone that tries to keep your social media polished. A lot of people just have a Twitter account where they post the Nintendo stuff, like things that they screenshotted from Nintendo, and then you just post it. It's some random account. You don't draw any attention to it.
A little burner. Burner
like
account.
a little burner, just to post all your pictures from the consoles. So
maybe that's been a burner account for my posts, because it's so archaic and outdated having to do it that way. And like, I know the fact that I know the app can do it, but it's not available worldwide is what shits me the most. I prefer none of us to be able to do and all deal with this pain, as opposed to seeing some people like, oh, it's easy. You just click on the app and click your library and click captures and they're right there. And I'm like, well, it's not fucking there for me. So I've got to go through all this pain just to get these pretty photos I'm taking. But first world problems. It doesn't detract from the game. I absolutely love it. And yeah, it's going to go down as one of my personal goats. I'm not gonna throw that blanket across everybody, because people will be coming at me. I know NATO's already probably sharpening a pitchfork, but it's special and it does everything that Horizon Zero Dawn does, Forbidden West does, and does it better and adds to it. And it's a sign of a great sequel. So, check out that for sure. And The Witch Queen and King of Fighters.
Yeah.
Quick bit of housekeeping before we jump into the news. Obviously, shop8bit.net if you wanted to get yourself some tasty 8-bit related merch and swagger. If you want to support us monetarily, you can do so over at ko-fi.com/we-are8bit for a low price of $1 per month. And scaling up from there, we have a few different tiers, which get you additional access to podcast content, giveaways, and everything else in between from there. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe to this podcast and all the other podcasts you listen to on the regular. Helps keep the lights on in our hearts. Costs you no money, takes no time, means the world to us. And just pay it forward. Just do a little good gesture for all them pods that are generating content for you on the daily and the weekly, because it's going to keep us charting and maybe get us into some new ears and hearts out there. But Miss Hart, let's jump into this.
This week's news headlines.
We've got a smattering of sort of more bite-sized quick hitters this week on the news. And the first one doesn't really need to do a bit of a deep dive, but the PlayStation Plus games for March have been announced, and you can get Ark Survival Evolved, Team Sonic Racing, and Ghost Runner's PlayStation 5 version, as well as the standalone version of the multiplayer for Ghost of Tsushima Legends. All games will be available to download from March 1 through to April the 4th. After that, you'll need to have an active PlayStation Plus subscription to keep the games. If you're still playing on a PS4, unfortunately, you won't be able to get Ghost Runner. But some good titles there. Good variety. Some very meaty titles there. You want to go and tame some dinos, you can do so in Ark. Team Sonic Racing. Fun. It was fun. I'd love to go back.
Yeah, there's been moments where I've been like, man, I'd like to go back to Ark. That game was great.
I really want to go back. It's on Game Pass, so that's probably how I'd go back. I'd start fresh on Xbox. So yeah, we'll see. But Ghost of Tsushima Legends, the multiplayer, really heckin' good. I haven't played Ghost Runner, but it was met with high praise last year, and everyone loved it. So maybe that could be a title to add to your collection as well. But yeah, good variety. And Team Sonic Racing, if you want to play a kart racing game where it feels like you're on acid, that is the one, because some of those maps, or some of those tracks, I should say, that you race on are absolutely bonkers, and it feels like you are tripping all the balls. But yeah, PlayStation Plus games for March announced. All right, everyone's favorite Legends will be available on Android and iOS in the following 10 countries. And obviously, when we're saying Legends, we're talking about Apex Legends. So it is coming to mobile as of the 28th of February. So 3 days' time, this is dropping on 10 countries as sort of an internal beta testing ground. And guess what? Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia, the Philippines, Indonesia, Mexico, Peru, Argentina, and Colombia are the 10 test beds. So somehow Australia has been the tester over the United States, Canada, Europe, the United Kingdom. It's ANZ, and then, some smatterings around the rest of the world, which is bonkers.
That's just a list of places that have bad internet, isn't it? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Right. Yeah. So maybe that they're like, there's no better place to test a game than the places with the shittiest internet.
That's a smart way to look at it, actually. Like, if we can make this game run in places that are running dial-up and whatever else, we can make it run anywhere. So,
exactly.
10 countries at launch, which launches in a couple of days. Am I going to play Apex Legends on my phone? No fucking way. But it's interesting.
Is it free to play?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'll get you with them skins.
Oh, always. There's some pretty good skins in Apex right now. There
really is. And the fact they've got skins in the game now that you level up, so you can make the skins look better by doing certain challenges in the game. I think that's a really smart concept.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, available on mobile in the coming days. So any listeners here in ANZ or the broader nationals that we mentioned just then, you can get your hands on Apex Mobile and put it through its paces.
Yeah, honestly, a part of me is curious on how that looks on a mobile phone.
It can't look any worse than it does on Switch, truth be told.
I haven't seen someone play it on Switch, but I could only imagine.
Like, you think of some of the phone screens these days are spitting out at 4K, where the old Switchy poo in handheld is 720. So, you know what? Maybe you're going to get a better experience on the smartphone with a Bluetooth controller, but who knows? Something we also know, LEGO has reportedly partnered with BioShock and Borderlands publisher 2K to develop a series of LEGO sports games. VGC reports that the partnership will produce several games, including a football/soccer game developed by Sumo Digital, the developer of Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and Team Sonic Racing. It also said an open-world LEGO racing game is already in development from NBA 2K and WWE 2K developer Visual Concepts, matching previous reports of the developer advertising jobs for a game of the same description. So LEGO racing, LEGO soccer, cool.
I mean, LEGO has dabbled in, video game franchise. I mean, LEGO Star Wars is very, very popular.
Yeah, and the Batman stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they do well with those games, but, the soccer football one doesn't really move the needle for me, but I'm listening to the racing game. If this is going to be, a LEGO sort of kart-inspired game, I'm in.
Did you ever play the LEGO Racer? You got to, you got to build your cart, and it was like out of like Lego blocks and stuff. So you would get all these like Lego blocks, and then you'd build your little cart, and then you got to race your cart as well. I played it on PC. But I can't remember what the exact name was. It could have been just like Lego Racing. But I can see that this would be a smart move, maybe for people to have their kids play, because the FIFA games and all that can be a bit complex, you know, bit of a struggle on the hands. So maybe this is making a more approachable game style to kids.
That's very true. It's a good gateway to the world of football or soccer.
Football, yes.
Depending on where you are in the world. So that makes sense. Like, I guess it's a good in between as well. Like, we've obviously got the new Mario Strikers game coming out, but if this is almost like a further simplified version of it, which is accessible and utilizing the globally renowned Lego, it could be fun. Will I buy it and play it? Probably not. But yeah, the racing game intrigues me. Like, when you mentioned the thought of getting all these pieces and building a car that's truly your own and racing it, I love that idea. Or if they take characters from maybe the Lego worlds, you know, if you can race as Batman or Star Wars characters and stuff in a little racing sim too, I'm like, yeah, I'm interested in both of those. I love a good kart sim or racing sim that's arcadey. So we'll see. All right, another little quick hitter. Square Enix officially renews the trademark on Gex, a property it got as part of the deal from acquiring Eidos Interactive way back in 2009. So are we going to get a little bit more of Gex the Gecko running around?
I liked that game. It was actually really fun.
It was really fun. And I can't remember the title of the Gex game, where it was pretty much just, you know, a gecko playing as James Bond. Like, they fully lent into the James Bond hysteria. And
I just always remember the picture in the game stores where he's like sitting there like leaning in it, like just a top half tuxedo.
Looking very stylish. Very stylish. But a great little action platformer from back in the day.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we see the return of Gex. Maybe we get a crossover skin with Geico and have the gecko from the Geico ads in there. Who knows?
5 minutes saves you 15%, or vice versa. 15 minutes saves you 5%. I've seen the ad like a million times a day, and I still don't remember the slogan or whatever it is. So it ain't working.
It ain't working. What about State Farm?
State Farm is like a good neighbor. State Farm is there.
Yeah. What a strange slogan. Like, I get it. But in this day and age, like, I don't talk to any of my neighbours. If I needed help, none of my neighbours here would help me. They'd be like, good luck, bro. I'm going to go steal your dogs and your car.
Yeah. Actually, I just realised now that by me living here, I've now, like, there's all the slogans and jingles of Australia that I've retained in my head. But now I'm, like, retaining these American ones. And, like, I'm going to be, like, a mishmash of just advertisements in my head.
That's what the world wants. They want all those jingles circulating in your brain and your grey matter all the time.
We should talk when we do the
Bytecast.
Maybe we should do like food jingles.
I love that idea. We can discuss that. We'll plan that out. It'll be out in the next couple of weeks. We're going to try and do it today after this, but timing is tight. But we'll do it very soon.
Timing's twat?
Tight.
Oh.
Twat like tight. Get your mind out of the gutter.
That's what I thought you said. I was questioning it. I'm like, wow, that went past me. I never heard that before.
All right, the next little banger. Nintendo has made a rare acquisition, officially making one of its long-running development partners an internal studio. Tokyo-based SRD Co Limited will be wholly owned by Nintendo, with the deal expected to close on April 1, 2022. So this hopefully not an April Fool's joke there. No sum has been currently disclosed. The company is led by director and president Toshihiko Nagano and has been working with Nintendo for almost 40 years. SRD has assisted with the programming and development of first-party games as far back as the NES versions of Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., as well as iconic titles like Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda. In fact, an Iwata Asks interview reveals that SRD was entrusted with building a test version of a Mario game where the Nintendo mascot could jump higher than his Mario Bros. Counterpart, leading to Super Mario Bros. I don't understand that last part, but I'm guessing that's pretty impressive. But It's insane that these like Nintendo and SRD have been working together for 4 decades, just in like this handshake agreement, and now they've finally brought them in under the fold. Like I guess Nintendo have seen all the movements within the game industry. You know, we better make an acquisition. SRD, we've been working together long enough. What do you say you come home forever? No, yeah, okay. Show me the yen. Show me the yen.
Show me that yen. It's an interesting thing to think about, where it's more of a loyalty thing, right? Like they've been doing their own things and working together in unison, and it's just worked out well. And then at this point they're like acquiring them. I don't know if maybe like the company was having issues or something like that and required the support, or maybe they're just like, you know what, like, why not now? Why not just like, you know, join hands and we'll support you as one? Like, it's very curious. It's not bad.
Very curious. But yeah, it feels similar to when Sony officially acquired Housemarque, who done Returnal. Like they've been working on and off for years and years and years, and it just makes sense. So yeah, it's better the devil you know, I guess, in one regard, and the fact that they've trusted each other respectively for 4 decades, it shows they know what businesses practices they both undertake, and yeah, it's smart. So Nintendo splashing that cash. So yeah, curious to know what the fee was when we see something come out as far as the figures. We'll let you know. But yeah, Nintendo getting in the acquisitions business as well. Speaking of interesting business, we've had our first reveal of Street Fighter 6. We got a very brief trailer of Ryu looking especially yoked, with a bit of a focus as they scroll up, and you see the big old Hadouken bulge there just hanging out doing its thing. And yeah, Ryu's a big boy in many aspects.
I love that was one of the biggest like things that that came from that announcement. There was quite the separation of people that didn't seem happy with his more squared body frame, was like a problem that a lot of people had, but everyone else kept it below the belt, and yeah, praised him in his new design and what he had to offer.
Ryu definitely wins.
Yeah,
because yeah, he's a big unit. But on the back of Ryu and his physical prowess, we also got the unveil of the new Street Fighter 6 logo, and on the back of that, much discourse. There's been various news outlets and articles being tossed around where they've found the Street Fighter logo available through like the Adobe stock images. So you could actually buy the Street Fighter logo for the most part for around $80. So there's a bit of discourse that not only the owner of this Adobe stock image is saying he wants a cut now, there's also a lot of people just generally getting upset that they've gone away from that traditional Street Fighter fire emblazoned logo that we've known for many years, to this now very modern, minimalistic, esports-esque SF with the little... And the 6 isn't even in the hexagon. It's just
it's off the
side of it, which is weird in itself. But yeah, are you thumbs up or thumbs down on this logo, Miss Hart?
Oh, it's bad. It's very white bread. It's very forgettable too. Like if you're announcing a game, like we were talking before the show, speculating, or kind of agreeing with some of the speculation that this Street Fighter 6 announcement was like kind of coinciding with the King of Fighters release. Like you'd think that you would want to like show up, and this logo was just very boring, very basic, and had nothing to offer, like design wise. And as we can find out, that it was as basic as a stock image. So yeah, it's a weird way to go.
It's clear that Capcom spent all their money on the additional crutch pixels for Ryu. They went, we've blown our budget on Ryu's big old peen and his big old shoulders. We didn't even think about the logo. What are we going to do? So they grabbed an intern and he went, jumping through stuff. That'll do. There's an SF. That'll work. Chuck a 6 beside it and away we go. Send it to the printers. So, yeah, here we are.
I wonder if there's like someone else, like somewhere out there that maybe like in San Francisco, like that's a logo because it's so
Maybe.
like so basic. Like I could imagine just anyone like kind of having that, and I could just imagine someone in San Francisco has that as a logo for something. So
I'd say it's probably been used many times. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. San Fernando, San Francisco, Sigmund Freud. So many options, but here we are with this new minimalistic hexagon Street Fighter direction. We'll see if they pivot and maybe
they probably
adjust.
will.
As the internet has many powers these days and can enforce change like this.
It's true. We'll have to see.
But yeah, shout out to Ryo for just packing heat. My God, I can see why he's been the face of this game for so long.
Now he can. No, I'm not saying it. No.
All right, the next bit of news. Call of Duty is reportedly skipping the annual releases as of next year. So the original story from Eurogamer stems from February 22nd. So it stemmed on the 22 of the 2 of the 22, or the 2 day as it is, which is pretty crazy to think about.
2 for 22.
Shout out to the late, great Richie Beno. But yeah, Call of Duty won't be getting a new mainline series entry in 2023, marking the first time in just under 2 decades the core series hasn't had an annual release. This isn't the first time we've heard reports Activision has been considering ditching Call of Duty's yearly release schedule, but now Bloomberg's Jason Schreier claims it's a done deal, citing sources saying Activision executives have made the decision to delay next year's mainline title, in quotes, after a recent entry in the series failed to meet expectations, end quote. That's almost certainly a reference to Vanguard, which has seen notably lower sales compared to 2020's Black Ops Cold War, down 36% in the United Kingdom alone, leading to declining year-over-year net bookings for the series as per Activision's most recent financial report. Bloomberg's sources added, some executives believe Activision is introducing new versions of Call of Duty too rapidly, end quote. And then we've had a response and a follow-up just yesterday on the 24th of February. Activision has responded to this week's report, which has also claimed that a new free-to-play Call of Duty was in the works. Treyarch, whose game is now expected in 2024, is said to be assisting development on that said free game. We have an exciting slate of premium and free-to-play Call of Duty experiences for this year, next year, and beyond, an Activision spokesperson said in a statement passed to Eurogamer. Reports of anything otherwise are incorrect. We look forward to sharing more details when the time is right. So, no one is especially upset about this. Like, you know the amount of money that things like Warzone generates for Call of Duty these days. Like, everyone loves the Battle Royale, and everyone is still pretty hot and sweaty for Warzone, so they're focusing on Warzone 2. They've also got this other mode, which is, I think the working, code title is DWZ or something like that, or DRZ, which is going to be a survival type of shooter in the same vein as Escape from Tarkov that they're working on in the background. So they're going to have, I guess, those two as the games of service types of models. And then on the back end of that, every few years, they'll release more of that Call of Duty single player with the multiplayer flavor added to it as well. The big action blockbuster events, the big epics that they have been known for. So I think, they've got enough cash coming in from Warzone especially, but then this Tarkov-inspired jaunt will no doubt get some interest if it's done well, because everyone loves Tarkov.
Still don't understand. I don't understand fully Tarkov, but I know, like, what if people told me about it? It sounds frustrating to me. It sounds frustrating. In regards to this whole missing out a year of Call of Duty, like, good, like, awesome. Maybe they should just sit down and, like, go back to their roots and see what worked and what didn't work. I was telling my husband that, like, I feel like it shouldn't be that much of a big deal, because the people that play Call of Duty, they never play each one released in each year. They usually gravitate to one and play that one continuously. They never, like, grab the next one. But I guess they try to appease so many different audiences, so that's why they try to push out all these different versions of Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's interesting, obviously, yeah, because they cycle through your Treyarchs, your Ravens, your Sledgehammers, year on year, where Call of Duty, you get the same base experience in all those games, but they play slightly differently. The weapons feel different, or the eras you're running around in are different. So it's like these little subtle resets almost every year where the continuity is similar but different. So I'm not sad about this delay, because Call of Duty has become, a FIFA or an NBA 2K equivalent in that regard, where it's just yearly cycles where it's, the roster's had an update or there's a new hat and whatever. And I know I'm downplaying a lot of the story writing for the single player experiences in the COD games, but yeah, they're going to make more than enough cheddar to sort of keep this IP afloat in between making new mainline games. And it's clear that there's a bit of COD fatigue. Like Vanguard, I haven't even played. I haven't even touched the game, had no incentive to buy the game. Like some people play it and enjoy it, but I just couldn't care. And that's not a shot to that franchise, because obviously they've got the Modern Warfare 2 remake coming out this year as the mainline entry, which I'm keen as a bean, because Modern Warfare 2, the original release of that, is just about my favorite COD, and played many an hour on multiplayer. So I think I'll be going back to that come October, November, whatever the date is that it's going to drop. But yeah, I'm happy that hopefully this is also going to lead to those traditional COD studios under Activision being able to spread their wings and do things outside of the COD world. That's what I'm also hoping.
Well, by the time that this kind of all rolls around, they'll be fully under Microsoft's ownership now, wouldn't they?
That's true. True.
We'll probably see other differences too. So yeah. Let Treyarch and Infinity Ward and all these studios spread their wings and diversify their portfolios, which I'm hoping we'll see as well. So yeah, this game will still sell, even if it's out every other year. It'll still sell and people will still queue up. Just maybe, based on that, 36 down decline in the UK. Just seems people are looking for something else. And there's plenty out there for people, so you've got to work hard to retain everyone's playership.
Exactly. And a game that's working very hard, at least amongst the critics at the moment, is Elden Ring. It's currently one of the best reviewed games in modern history, games community's most anticipated games for years, and its review scores appear to be living up to the hype. Elden Ring is one of the highest scoring games on both Metacritic and OpenCritic. The two websites compile scores from various outlets, giving an average score that's usually a pretty good indicator of the general critical consensus of a game. Over on Metacritic, the PlayStation 5 version of Elden Ring has a score of 97, tied with the likes of The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Grand Theft Auto 5, Metroid Prime, and more. Only 4 games have ever scored a 98, and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time stands alone at 99.
Yes.
And on OpenCritic, Elden Ring is currently tied with Super Mario Odyssey for the highest rating on the website at a 97. There are a couple of important things to note with Elden Ring's score. First, the scores are incredibly fresh since Elden Ring's review embargo only lifted several hours ago, or several days at time of release of this episode, and some reviews that are already out aren't scored yet due to the game's length. New review scores can keep coming in over time, causing Elden Ring's average score to change. Also, both Metacritic and OpenCritic don't encompass many reviews for older games. Metacritic specifically only has a handful of pre-2000s games in its rankings, with all-time greats from consoles like the SNES not being included at all. Still, it's an impressive achievement for From Software. So this game has been getting 10s and 5 out of 5s and 5 stars, whatever their metric is to score this game. It's been getting perfect scores across the board. It's absolutely bonkers. It's a game that, as we sort of mentioned at the jump here on the episode, it's a game that's not usually in our wheelhouse, but we're going to give it a go because everyone is saying this is a game you need to experience. The world building in this game is unlike anything out there, and I need to taste this as well as all the pain I'm going to be tasting at the same time.
Yeah, you can't deny these review scores. I'm usually quite skeptical, But these scores have just been pretty straightforward and direct and absolutely similar that I'm not really questioning it too much. Yeah, I'm nervous about playing this because it's not my kind of game. And like we said at the start of the episode, I might want to be pleasantly surprised. I might enjoy it. It might be a good thing. I might finally find one of these damn punishment games that I might be good at and might enjoy. There's no denying too, like, it's gorgeous. It's an absolutely beautiful looking game. And I love the way that they're like some of these monsters look. They look absolutely nightmarish and just so creative. It's pretty cool. So, and then the other thing that someone sold it to me is that the other games are pretty linear. This one is actually very much open world, so you're not being restrained to just like, you have to go here, then you have to go here, and this is the path you have to lead. You are free to just roam around and fight your fights and your battles and such. So, yeah, it's captivated me. It's caught my attention, so I will give this a go.
Yeah, I'm equal parts excited and terrified to play this game because, as you said, I'm of that same ilk. Like this genre or this subsect of game is not usually what I flock to. Like the Soulsborne genre is an acquired taste, but just off the back of this praise that is just universal, it's like I think I'd be doing this game and myself a disservice for not trying it. Like, yeah, I think I'll play, like, if I never finish it, but I still manage to get a good amount of the way through it and experience this world and just this magic that From Software has put together, I think I'll probably be able to get to a level where I can understand where these 10s and these perfect scores have come from.
Exactly.
And that's what I want to, I just want to see what these reviewers have seen. I want to experience that. Like, will I... Who knows? Maybe like you were mentioning, maybe we'll turn respective leaves over and become these Souls savants after this. Who knows? Or maybe it's just going to be too rough, and halfway through I'm just going to be like, I'm done for now. I'm parking this. I had a great time. I get the hype, but yeah, it's a special game. It's going to go down in history, I think, as one of the greats. And it's insane to think that George R.R. Martin can't finish the stories he's known for. Like, the next release in the Thrones saga is delayed year on year on year, and yet Elden Ring, which was announced a few years ago and then sort of went radio silent for a while, still somehow manages to come out ahead of schedule, fully developed, fully realized, and obviously a lot of that's to do with From Software just being wizards in this realm, but knowing that George R.R. Martin's DNA is sprinkled through this story and this world, and yet it still came out ahead of schedule, I think, is very surprising.
And you know what, like, and this is not just with Elden Ring, it's also with, surprisingly, Horizon. We're seeing the graphic fidelity and absolute gorgeousness of these open world games. And all I can think about is like how high they're obviously being reviewed and these amazing scores that we're seeing. But these graphical feats just have me more and more excited for titles that I'm anticipating in the future, and just how much they're gonna raise the bar for all other games in the future on what people will come to expect, especially for the open world genre, and just how beautiful it could look. Obviously, the one that I've been waiting for the most, the next Elder Scrolls installment. I mean,
can you imagine how pretty that's going to look?
Yeah, sorry Bethesda, but these guys have really spoiled me to thinking that you guys are going to produce something absolutely stunning. So get on it. Use that Microsoft money. So if that's definitely one thing that I can take away from both these titles that I'm kind of excited about in the future.
Yeah, this February run has, set a pretty high bar for the rest of this year and then into the future. Elden Ring in that world that can look so beautiful but also so horrific and twisted and warped at the same time. And then Horizon, not anywhere near as horrific, don't get me wrong. It's post-apocalyptic and the world's decrepit, but then all the natural scenery juxtaposed amongst all this rusted metalwork and busted-ass skyscrapers. It looks stunning. It's as I said at the jump, like it's one of the best looking games I've ever seen, especially on a console. And then Elden Ring is sort of said, hold my beer there, Aloy, and we'll show you pretty... Yeah, hold my mead, or whatever you drink in Elden Ring. I'd assume there's going to be some kind of alcoholic beverage you can drink that might give you a buff as you fight all these nightmare creatures. But yeah, it's we're in a bit of a heyday at the moment as far as that next technological bump with the graphics and then the functionalities. Like I haven't even touched on, like with Horizon, the utilization of the DualSense. The haptic responses and the tension in the triggers and utilizing the sound through the controller. Just those little subtleties where you're starting to get this immersion from everywhere, not only through the screen, but through the peripherals you're playing with. And it's a good time to be a gamer, Miss Hart. That's for damn sure.
Damn right. We're very spoiled in ways that we get to experience stories now.
That's it. But you heard it here first, listeners. We are going to be Elden Ring savants. So, yeah, watch this space. Maybe we're going to start a dedicated Elden Ring podcast. Probably not, but...
Elden Rung.
Yeah, Elden Run Away because it's so difficult. But, yeah, we'll report back over the coming episodes as far as our experiences with Elden Ring, and we'll see if we can crack that code and become good in the Soulsborne genre. All right, that's the end of the news, so let's jump across to this.
New releases and events.
As far as other content coming out this week, February, we've still got a couple of days left, but that also means we've got some new content that's going to be dropping in this next upcoming THG weekly release cycle on a TV perspective. So we're talking about the streamers. We've got The Boys Presents Diabolical Season 1 making its way to Amazon. So that is a animated offshoot of The Boys. Similar vein as Invincible. So if you've watched Invincible and watched The Boys, I think you'll very much enjoy Diabolical. Mm-hmm. And over on Netflix, we get Vikings Valhalla. So the next step in Vikings lore, it's going to be set 100 years after the events of Ragnar and Co. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's good. The reviews coming out for it are a little bit mixed, which makes me a bit sad, but I'm excited for some more Vikings television. From a movie standpoint, we've got Monster Family 2 coming out, and also The Batman making its way to cinemas this week.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was still some time to go.
March the 3rd.
Jeez. Shit.
Get ready. Get ready for that 3-hour, broody, atmospheric Robert Pattinson jaunt.
I've been just getting ads of him and Catwoman. Like, that's it.
Yeah, that's all you see. It feels like it's just going to be the Bat-Cat love story, but I'm not sad about it. But
I'm sick of it.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what they've done with this one and if it lives up to the hype. As far as other games coming out this week, if Elden Ring and Horizon and Sifu and things like that aren't your cup of tea, we've got Elex number 2, Far Changing Tides, Puzzle Quest 3, Shadow Warrior 3.
Yeah.
Which I'm keen to give that a spin in the near future. Babylon's Fall, speaking of spinning, wheels in this regard. Gran Turismo 7 comes out, and Triangle Strategy. So a nice diverse offering there of titles to play in between deaths in Elden Ring or in between overriding machines in Horizon Forbidden West. So many things to do in the broader geek culture space. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of THG 273. Anything else you want to say or shout out before we close down this studio?
Yeah, obviously due to recording restraints, obviously the DICE Awards are happening. So we will probably break that down next week and talk about everything that kind of came from that, as well as the Pokemon presentation that's happening the weekend at time of you guys listening to this, the weekend past. So, so there's going to be a few things that we're probably going to be breaking down next week as well.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, we are recording on Friday as opposed to our usual Saturday. So we're coming at you a little bit early. It's going to be out the same time. Oh, maybe. Depends on when I get this edited. Who knows? I'm not going to confirm nor deny. Either way, you listen to it right now, whenever that is. But yeah, brings us to the end of episode 273 of THG 8-Bit Nation. Thanks as always for stopping on by. But it's our time to get on out of here. So until next time, much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.